Been working on this extension for quite a long time, and one thing that I've been trying to achieve is a way of having a release checklist like this, so that when I'm about to share a version with a customer or release it to the marketplace, I can make sure that some of the critical aspects of the extension are going to be working. I've got some unit tests, for example, and I want them to run before I share a new version. I've got within the custom properties, I've occasionally given a version to people that accidentally has my own Twilio account details in there, and then they can basically send SMSs at my expense, which isn't so great. And with our backend, I've sometimes accidentally launched it with the wrong URL when we've been testing on the dev version. So for this reason, to reduce mistakes, we've got this automated checklist that I thought I'd share the concept with you. So basically, the way it works is it will look at the custom function code. And for example, I've got this one here. Sometimes, like I said, in testing, we'll change it from the prod version to the dev version instead. And if I do that, then if I share that with customers, that's quite bad because then it's using a different database. But the check will download the list of functions, find the one for the backend URL, and you can see now it's telling me don't release that one because it's not safe. And the same thing, we've got some unit tests that go through and make sure that the custom functions have been written correctly. This one here, for example, if I change it like that, the unit test will fail. And also, if I put something garbage in one of the organization variables that come with the extension, it'll warn me about that as well. For example, if I put my own Twilio account SRD in here. I'll show you the code in a minute. The way it's set up is by using Tamper Monkey, which is an extension, a way of running code on the page. And basically what it can do, we've got it set up so that it will invoke the Zoho CRM APIs on our behalf. That's interesting. I'm going to have to tweak the unit test part. You can see here, it's quite helpful. It tells me what's wrong and allows me to fix it easily. I'm going to have to go in and check what's wrong with that because that should have failed as well. But anyway, I'll show you what the code looks like. So it requires a bit of hackery where basically taking over the page, we run some code here to fetch the organization variables. We're using the same APIs that would be called if I actually navigate to that page. And then we have the expected, if the actual values are different from the expected values, then we're going to show it as having failed. In order to get it to work, we have to add a new iframe onto the page. You can see here, we add an iframe because you can only call those variable APIs from this page here. So we add a new iframe, and then when the iframe loads, the Tamper Monkey script will then run this code, fetch organization variables, and then it has to communicate with the parent frame by using a event listener, window.postMessage and window.eventListener. So that one was quite hard to get working. The other one was a bit easier, the one we're calling publish check here, where it doesn't need an iframe. Instead, it can run the unit tests itself by, first of all, it will, this part is where it's checking that the backend URL is correct. we know what the function ID is, and we basically download the code for that function, and then we make sure that the URL is correct. The other one is here. We download all of the custom functions by calling the APIs, and then we copy the code and we run the unit tests. So I found that really helpful. The other thing I found helpful on this note is I've got another script where it will allow me to download all of the custom function code, because one big limitation of the Sigma console is that if I want to do a global search across all of my functions, I've got over 100 functions in this extension. It's quite hard to do. Instead, what I can do, I can click on this button here. It will call the APIs to download all of the code, converts it into a zip file, and then I can download that and put it into my code editor, and I can do global find there. And I can also, because I've got another developer working on it with me, I'm able to code review what he's working on, because he'll download the code as a zip, and then he'll make a new pull request in GitHub and give it to me to review, so I can make sure that the changes he's made are appropriate. It'd be great if in the future the Zoho developer team made this kind of functionality part of the actual Sigma interface. I mean, a lot of what I've done here, it could be achieved through some kind of, basically, if I could run some deluge code on this page, then I'd be able to access the organization variables, and I'd also be able to run unit tests as well. Definitely the other thing too with the downloading the code, it'd be cool if it was possible to actually use Git to version control the code here rather than having to edit it in here.